Welcome. This is video one of 3 videos that I'm going to be presenting on really why you need to be looking at how you're designing that employee induction. And when you do, you'll be able to reap the benefits. So we need to change the way that we're actually thinking about the induction process. It's a welcome process. I'm going to be taking a learning and development filter over the top of this work because that is my background and that is where my superpowers lay. So I'm going to take you through today just understanding why, if we take a learning and development approach and a strategic approach to it, rather than straightforward traditional HR where you're like, oh, that's how you process that, that's Joe from finance, don't drink out of that coffee cup or you'll get into trouble, why you can really start to reap multiple benefits, a lot of outcome, and leverage that process for many, many different impacts, not just one in particular, which normally we go, oh, well, it's just so that we give the knowledge to our new staff members so they'll be actually do the job. No, it's much more than that. So I'm going to share with you when you design it well and you design it differently, what those multiple impacts can be. And I think you'll really connect in with those now in the world that we're living in. And then I'm going to share with you 2 key questions that we ask clients before we start looking at how we're going to design a very different welcome experience for staff, not a simple induction process. So let's get started. Why do we need to even be bothered thinking about designing a different approach to inductions/welcome experience? Well, the benefits are multiple. The first one I want to share with you is that when done from a learning and development perspective, you actually create a greater bond between the employee and across different departments. So this is not just about, as I said, the transfer of knowledge. This is about creating a very different perception in that mind of the employee from that moment that they step into that role, even going back after the recruitment, what happens even before they have their first day on site or off site, as the case may be. So this is really setting the scene and creating valuable relationships across departments. It is also, the second point I want to make is that a strategic learning and development approach to induction welcomes allow staff to actually create an emotional bond to their employees. So we know that in communications, you tend to remember the first and the last thing, that you're exposed to. So if we don't set this scene right, it will have terrible consequences for the business, but also for that employee as well too. We want to tell a particular story to these new employees. And the way that we can do that is through that induction experience that we deliver them. So we want to create an emotional connection with that employee and we want to make sure it's the right one from that first point in time. So that's really important. When we can design a welcome experience that is creative and inspiring, we're also setting a very different scene. So we're telling the message to that employee, hey, you know what, you're working with a different business now. We don't run like the other people do, like the other businesses do. We don't approach it in the same way. They are going to be your greatest advocates. They're going to be the ones out there in the market telling their mates around the, I say the barbecue test on the weekend, when your friend says to you, hey, how's that new role going? You either say, wowzers, what an experience, or you go, wowzers, what a experience. You don't want to be the latter. You want to be the former. So you need to make sure that you are creating that experience that when the barbecue test happens on the weekend and you're not there, they are being advocates for you. And we know that like attracts like, so you need to get that right. The other thing too is that you'll de-risk the chance of staff not being able to deliver to expectations, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed and leaving. So we do need to invest time and money into creating a next level experience that isn't just, as I said, ticking a box and making sure we cover ourselves from a legal perspective. Now, those 2 key questions before we part ways and come back for point 2. 2 key questions. I always ask my clients to get a handle on their current reality. The first question is, how does your current induction process reflect the changing strategic and visionary direction of your business? So how does it allow you in its current format to deliver on that? And the second question that I always ask to get a handle on client reality before I go too far and we design anything together is that content still fit for purpose? So it does not only how it's delivered, but is the content reflective of the needs and the direction of the business, but also what we're seeing in terms of the needs and expectations of employees. If we want to attract the best talent, what are they expecting to see in that welcome process too? I don't know what your process is after you've undertaken your induction. but I would be encouraging you also to undertake some feedback on that process too, to gather some additional data and intel that you can use in designing this. So please give us your feedback, insights, comments around the question on this short video. We always ask you, we would love to have it from you. If you're a pro member, you will get notes accompanying this video, and that just is really the script of this, so you can come back and look at all the questions and the points and the checklists that we put into these short but content rich resources for you. So you will get that as well, that you can use and refer back to as you see fit. So have a great day. I look forward to seeing you for video 2.